what I saw on veterans' deathbeds, oftentimes, was a lot of unmourned loss and unforgiven guilt and shame that would surface at the end of life. That can sometimes cause agitation, and that's a complication that we never want to see in dying people. All of us are, as we all age, and especially as we come near the very end of life, our conscious mind gets weaker. Our unconscious mind gets stronger. And that's when these memories sometimes surface unbidden at the end of life. And if someone has been especially good at not paying attention to those memories and stuffing those memories in a stoic culture, such as the military culture is, then when they surface, they can really catch people off guard. They can actually act as a trigger for the original trauma. So in the original trauma, they probably felt very helpless as somebody's shooting at them, or they're in a situation where they have to shoot, whatever it is, but people often feel very helpless and out of control, so to speak, in these kind of traumatic situations. Well, fast forward decades when they are coming to their own death. For all of us, as we are dying, we start to lose our independence. We start feeling more helpless because we are more helpless. And that triggers past feelings of helplessness when they felt helpless and out of control. Certainly, I think you can appreciate that if you have killed someone and you're getting ready to meet your maker, so to speak, however you conceptualize that to be, that might be what's weighing on your mind. And so that is often that unburdening of the soul, so to speak. What often happens in a very natural way is people kind of reflect back over their life, and they do what we call a life review, so to speak, and often regrets surface at that time. And so what we would do is help people mourn those losses that they had. We would help them learn how to forgive themselves for things they should or should not have done, and forgive others, those types of things. And when we would do these things, we would often see this shift occur. It would bring this sense of liberation oftentimes. And then sadly, sometimes what a veteran would turn and look in my eyes and say, why did I have to be dying to learn how to do this? When we disconnect, when we separate from this part of ourself, the whole part of ourself, our real self, that's what we call in Opus Peace, we call that a soul injury. What they're really searching for is to be able to grieve the loss of their innocence, to grieve the loss of the situation that they were in. To, we weren't made. I remember hearing a presenter talk about PTSD. He was a PTSD counselor, and 4 or 5 times during his presentation, he'd come back and he'd say, we just weren't made to kill each other. What I do in a nutshell, first of all, is letting that, let's say that veteran, go back to be that 19-year-old who killed someone. And I would say, tell me, what does that 19-year-old who had to kill someone that day, tell me what he was feeling. Then I say, okay, now, as the 80-year-old man that you are right now, talk to that 19-year-old that did what he did that day. What would you say? And when you're 80, you have a totally different mind than when you were 19. I mean, we all do foolish things when we're 19. And when you're in a kill or be killed situation, you do a lot of things that you should do, and you might do some things you shouldn't do, understandably. And we know in bereavement care, we know in therapeutic care, that being able to externalize that story, to be able to acknowledge it so we can re-own it, so we can rehome it and create that safe place within our own self, is all about being able to acknowledge its presence in our life.